Right. Hey guys, how are you? Welcome to the Master Key. My name is Louis Amorosi, and that is Gina Rinkin. Gina, you want to
Hi,
introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Gina.
That is Gina. All right, guys. We're just gonna go into the whole importance of financial literacy. We're gonna really touch base on that topic in the next coming weeks. For now, we're just gonna basically break down the main components, your introduction components to what is financial literacy, because a lot of people are unaware of what financial literacy is, right, Gina? They just think it's me having a bank account, me paying my bills, but there's a little bit more it goes a little bit more in depth than that.
You
Um,
want to know what the crazy thing is when I hear somebody say, I want to talk to you about financial literacy, I almost think like, well, what is this? Like, you want to preach at me? Is that not the weirdest thing? And it's not it at all. Financial literacy is just trying to help somebody learn about today's day and age of being financially responsible. And like I've tried to tell you, how do we switch our brains into being financially knowledgeable in a digital world?
for sure, for sure, and that's so hard for people to even adjust to normally, right? So when you add the whole, when you add financial literacy to that, it just tends to kind of like take them somewhere else. It goes over their head kind of. But financial
Yeah.
guys, financial literacy is in and 70% of the United States population is considered to be financially illiterate, meaning that 7 out of 10 Americans are not financially literate. They don't even know where to begin, right?
Right.
And being financially literate, allows individuals to better prepare themselves, for specific financial like roadblocks in the future, which in
And
turn,
then to teach their children.
yeah, and it decreases the chances of them actually encountering personal economic distress, right? And you just touched base on one good thing you said, and return teaching your children. In nothing against my parents, I love them to death, right? I come from two immigrant parents that came from their countries, to United States, just looking for looking for a better life to one day, be able to provide to their growing family. And they never sat me down, Gene. I don't know about your parents, but they never sat me down at a dinner
Totally
table.
opposite.
What's that?
I'll tell you in a second, but mine's totally opposite.
Oh, okay. Yeah, mine was never, my parents never brought up financial literacy, the importance behind, budgeting and saving and so on and so forth. I always just saw my dad, constantly on the grind, right? He was always working, he was paying the bills. We got to take a couple of family vacations. But the importance of financial literacy, right? What it has to do with mortgages and credit cards and investments and even up to health insurance and taxes. Financial literacy consists of several financial components and skills that allow you, myself, to gain knowledge, regarding, managing money and debt, right? So I just wanted to just basically touch base, and feel free to chime in, Gina, obviously, and stop me because I love talking.
Well, I
Uh,
was just going to say my story is I grew up in a day and age where you got your bills in and you printed your bank statement and you sat down with your bills, you paid by check, you balanced your checkbook, everything had to match up to your checkbook. You got your paycheck, you took your paycheck to the bank. And so you saw everything, you wrote down your bills, you knew what your bills were, everything was really eyesight. So you really didn't, it was a little harder to mismanage money, let's say, per se, because not as many people paid by credit cards. We were taught if you didn't have the money, you didn't pay for it.
Sure.
There wasn't, I don't think I had my first real credit card till I was past 18. When I went to go get my first lines of credit or my first car, my mom had to co-sign all of that. But I very distinctly remember, bills being lined out and balanced against checkbooks. And when I went to start trying to teach my daughter, skills, I all of a sudden realized nobody ever sees money anymore. Nobody ever sees their paycheck anymore. Nobody ever
Yep.
sees their credit card statements anymore, because they literally encourage you to do everything electronically by email, and nobody sits down and does that. And that's where the difficulty starts to come in. I ran into no matter how you and I were brought up, we had the same problem, and we both ran into financial trouble. And that's when everything started switching electronically, and I was no longer seeing my credit card statements, and I was no longer seeing my bills. And they started offering, me at 25, 26, 27, all these credit cards. All of a sudden, I started getting in trouble, and it was all digital, and that's where trouble started.
Yeah.
So that's when I had to learn how to function in a digital world.
That's so, that you saying that, me hearing you say that just takes me back to the days when I used to see, elder people bring out, not even elder people, just the general, anybody when I was growing up that was, paying for something always brought out that checkbook, always brought out the checkbook. And I used to watch them and how they did it. And I guess for, bookkeeping purposes and all that stuff, or just the financial aspect of everything, it was so, I guess my question is, do you think it's harder now to be taught financial literacy, or to be financially literate now versus the past?
It's just different because they don't have the same things. Now you have things like QuickBooks. The QuickBooks of the past and the QuickBooks of today are completely different. I used QuickBooks back when QuickBooks first came out. It had the balance sheets and the ledgers and the this and the that. I highly recommend QuickBooks to all my clients, both business and personal. If I'm working with a client, it's the easiest way to keep track of everything. A platform like QuickBooks, it balances. So you are actually seeing what's coming in and out of your bank account. You can actually put your credit cards attached to QuickBooks. Platforms like that do make it a lot easier. It's a seeing what you have in and out. I'm old school. I still have paper things that I write out. I encourage my clients to use the methods when you're, first starting out, of trying to figure out what your accounts look like when you need to pay stuff. So you're really looking at it.
I get it. No, I totally get it. So just to, obviously just pick up where I was just mentioning a couple minutes back, with certain financial, with financial literacy itself, there is, there are their components, there is fundamental components to financial literacy, right? We're talking budgeting, we're talking investing, we're talking borrowing, we're talking your favorite, which is taxation, we're talking personal financial management. Those are the five traditional components of financial literacy. Starting with the first one, which is budgeting. In budgeting, there are four different uses for money when it comes to budgeting, that determine an actual budget, right? That's spending the money, investing the money, saving the money, or giving the money away, right? And when we say giving away, we're not just saying, hey, look, find a stranger, out, give them $100. We're talking about giving it away in a sense where you're donating it for charity or for a good cause, right? So creating the right balance throughout the primary use of your money allows you to better allocate your money, either towards, if it's going towards income, and just resulting in a financial, being in a better position, financially secured, and for your future and its prosperity, right? So in general, I believe a budget should be composed in a way that pays off all your existing debt. You know what I mean? Leaving money aside for saving and making, beneficial investments or whatever the case it might be. If you ask my wife what a beneficial investment to her, she would say, "Oh, let's refinance our house and I want a new kitchen." You know what I mean? But everybody has a different opinion on that. It's just
That's a great course that we can go over in depth, just, one in itself, a whole budget course. And that's the great thing about what we're going to be doing is taking each of those points, those 5 points that you just listed out, and breaking them down. And that's why we want all of you to stay tuned. We want you to watch our YouTube channel for our upcoming each course is going to be something different. The points he just laid out, we're going to do one by one and in depth. But we just wanted to come to you today and introduce kind of what we have coming up. We hope you guys subscribe, right? And
for sure. Always remember to subscribe. Please subscribe, share. Go to our Facebook page, Instagram page, show us some love. We'll be, again, there's 5 components. We'll break that down.
We'll do all 5, one on each one.
Yep. We'll break that down, put that in a course for you guys.
So tell us what the 5 components were again.
So number 1 is budgeting, right? Which we just kind of went over. Number 2 is investing, right? Becoming financially illiterate takes a person, they must learn about key components in regards to investing their money, right? That means diversification, risk mitigation, price levels, interest rates. When you give yourself, or when you teach yourself about these areas, just makes it just makes a lot of sense when it comes to financial literacy, and all ties into one another, right? You have borrowing money, Gina. A lot of people don't think that borrowing money is something that's involved in financial literacy, and it is, because almost every individual is required to borrow money at some point in their life, right?
On something, car, house, something,
anything, right? But a lot of people don't understand the effects of borrowing money, or to what extent should they borrow their money, because they're not too keen on interest rates or compound interest, time value of the money, payment periods, loan structures.
So that's great. We'll go over all of that. Definitely the benefits, the pros and cons, because there's definitely pros and cons.
Of course. And then you're going to touch base on taxation, obviously gaining knowledge about different forms of taxation. I know there's employment taxation, investment, rental, inheritance. There's all different types of, sources of how income is taxed differently. And I'm pretty sure you'll cover that when we do our taxation segment of things. And then last but not least, personal finance, financial management. The most important criteria is financial management.
And that's my favorite. Organization.
It's key. I'm still struggling today with organization, but I think it's a guy thing. I think women tend to be more organized than men. And nothing against you, if there's any viewers or anything, I love you. I'm a man. You know what I mean? Two things men can't do is, 1, be very organized, and 2, multitask, right? So I struggle in both areas, but women tend to get that down packed. So cool to you guys. And then guys, just to top it off and kind of conclude what we were talking about here. Personal financial management is, we're going to spend some time on that when we go over that in the future. But it's your most important criteria, because you're taking everything else, taxation, borrowing, investing, budgeting, and it's basically an entire mix of all the components, and that's how you get your financial management and financial security. Obviously having a nice mix, or nice balance mix of all 5 of them. And that's basically what financial literacy is. Again, I didn't explain it to the T what each one of those components are, and how they, what kind of importance they have in your life. But we'll go over that. We'll build out a course for you guys. You'll have something to look at, and obviously more audio for you guys to tune into as well. Did you want to leave the audience with anything before, we see them again?
No, we're really excited. We're really excited to start these YouTube channel videos for you. We intend to really be subject by subject, breaking it down, really, breaking it down to one by one. This is a really exciting journey for us, and we can't wait to have you guys follow. Always drop comments in the comments, subject matters you would like to see us talk about. We are always interested in feedback. If you have a subject matter you would really like us to talk about, we love to go and look up and get details and bring you any subject matters. Like you said, we have a whole tax, all the updates for tax season coming that we're going to bring you guys. Financial literacy, it's just really our strong points, and we just can't wait to share all of it with you. And we can't wait to meet you guys. Like, share, follow.
All that good stuff, all of the above.
All that good stuff.
Well, guys, until next time, it was a pleasure.